If you're looking to lose weight, you've probably started exercising more and eating healthier and even eating more protein, which is one of the most important things you can do. Well, what if I told you that your focus on eating protein could be sabotaging your weight loss results and even causing you to gain weight? Fear not, in today's video, I'm gonna show you the 5 most common protein mistakes that can slow down your progress and actually cause weight gain, and how to fix them so you can start seeing better results. Starting with number 1, the wrong protein sources. You need to be choosing the right protein sources if you want to lose weight. Now, at the end of the day, more protein is gonna be helpful if you wanna lose weight, and we'll talk about exactly how much in 1 second. But for now, what you need to know is the thing that's going to get in the way of your weight loss results is choosing protein sources that supply a bunch of everything else and not just protein. For example, for the longest time, peanut butter has been considered a protein source, and it just isn't. It's a fat source that has protein in it. This doesn't make peanut butter bad per se, but if you're eating it for the protein alone, you're gonna be unnecessarily driving up the calories without even knowing it, which can lead to a weight loss plateau or even weight gain. When you're trying to lose weight, you wanna stick to protein sources that allow you to stay in a calorie deficit, meaning you're eating less calories than you're burning throughout the day, which is gonna be the primary mechanism through which you lose weight. And this comes down to choosing lean protein sources. Let's go over some examples. If we look at the nutritional information for 100 grams of extra lean, boneless, skinless chicken breast and compare it to 100 grams of chicken thighs, you can see for the same amount of food, for the same amount of meat, the chicken breast is gonna have much more protein and less calories overall. So when we think about it in the context of losing weight and we're comparing the chicken breast to the chicken thighs, the chicken breast is going to be leaner and a better option overall because you can get more protein, save on calories, and feel more full overall. Some other good examples of lean protein sources are gonna be things like non-fat Greek yogurt, pork tenderloin, egg whites, and cottage cheese. And after working with thousands of nutrition clients, I found that it's really common for them when they're first starting out and they're trying to lose weight to pick fattier sources of protein, like fattier cuts of meat like pork ribs or even regular ground beef, or full fat dairy, or eating a ton of eggs, which makes sense because these are protein sources and they're not off limits, but if you want to lose weight, you probably shouldn't choose them all the time. Now, if you'd like my full list of protein sources that are helpful in weight loss, as well as fat loss friendly foods that you can add to your grocery list or recommend to your nutrition clients, go to the first link in the description below and download my fat loss grocery list. It's a completely free and helpful resource. Now moving on to the second mistake, not eating enough total protein. When it comes to weight loss, it's not as simple as eating protein. You need to be eating enough total protein. The total dose is more important than the source, so you need to make sure that you're eating enough. And unfortunately, the protein recommendations you'll find in a general Google search or government dietary recommendations aren't enough for fat loss. Here are the levels that I use and recommend to my fat loss clients when first starting them on a weight loss plan. In general, you want to aim for 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. This total amount over the course of the day, and not just the source of the protein, is important for several reasons. First off, when you lose weight and you put yourself in a calorie deficit, you don't just lose fat, which may be surprising, but it's true. When we're losing weight, we're always losing a mixture of body fat and muscle, unfortunately. And when you're doing things correctly, you're gonna be losing a ratio of between 3 to 1 fat to muscle. Now, if you don't eat enough protein throughout this process, you're going to be losing proportionally more muscle, which isn't a good thing. First off, you don't wanna just become a smaller version of yourself when you're getting leaner. You wanna hold on to your muscle so that you look better, as well as maintain as much of your metabolism as possible. And muscle is gonna be important for that. Now, if you lose too much muscle, this could lead to a weight loss plateau or even worse, weight gain. How do you avoid this? I think you know the answer: by eating enough total amount of protein. When you get enough total amount of protein, what your body is going to do is start to burn off that protein that you're consuming for energy instead of your muscle, as well as burning much more fat so you can get a more defined look and hold on to the muscle that you already do have. Now that you know that getting enough total amount of protein is important, you may still feel a little lost because that range, 1.6 to 2.2, is pretty large. And where do you fall between that? Now, everyone's bodies and goals are going to be different, so there's no perfect level of protein, but here are a few things to get you started. First off, it's helpful to know how much protein that you're currently eating per day right now. And how I suggest that you figure that out is track everything that you eat for 3 to 5 days, and then find out the average amount of protein you eat per day. From there, you can compare how much protein you're currently eating compared to the optimal levels and start to set a starting target based based on that. This is gonna make the shift to eating more protein much more manageable. Typically, I suggest finding that average and adding in 20 to 30 more grams per day and using that as a starting point. Second, a clear sign that you're not eating enough protein while you're losing weight is that you're constantly hungry. One of the biggest benefits to eating more protein, especially in a weight loss phase, is that it is incredibly satiating, meaning it'll keep you fuller for longer, making protein a fat loss superfood. So if you do find that you're constantly hungry during dieting, you may need more protein, add 10 to 20 more grams in per day, and find that sweet spot that allows you to stay full and keep pushing your results. Lastly, if you find that you're really sore after workouts and it's taking you multiple days to recover, you may need to be eating more protein, and that all comes down to increasing the total amount of protein you're eating over the course of the day. So far, you avoided the mistake of not eating enough protein. Let's move on to our next mistake number 3, which is limiting the amount of protein you're eating per meal. All right, so this one is a contentious subject. For the longest time, it was thought that you could only use so much protein per meal. This number was around 20 to 30 grams, and if you went over that, the protein would be wasted. But this just isn't true, and it might actually be limiting your weight loss results. Because if you only think that you can utilize 20 to 30 grams of protein, and you need to eat 100 or 150 grams of protein per day, you're gonna be eating much more frequently, which may not be a problem if the calories are well controlled, but for most people, this just isn't the case. They're eating 20 to 30 grams of protein all the time, and additionally, much more calories. So in the effort to eat more protein, they're also eating more food overall, and it's actually sabotaging their weight loss results. One of the best things to emerge from some trends like intermittent fasting was the knowledge that we don't need to be eating frequent meals to stoke our metabolism or to utilize the protein that we're consuming. We can eat larger amounts of protein and start to split it up based on personal preference. And as long as you're still getting an optimal amount of protein on a daily level, again, that daily total, you're going to see very similar results. Now, if you like to eat more frequently, there's no reason why you can't eat smaller meals and split that protein up even more. But after working with thousands of fat loss clients, I've found that for many, this just isn't the case. They get just as good results eating 40 to 50 grams of protein per meal and eating less frequently. So don't feel like you have to limit how much protein you're eating per meal in order to get weight loss results. That just isn't the case. Let's move on to mistake number 4, avoiding taking protein supplements. Now, protein supplements like protein bars and protein powder are not required for you to lose weight or even to hit your protein targets. But for many of us, it can be difficult to eat enough protein through whole food sources alone. And a protein supplement can easily add 20 to 30 grams of protein very quickly, and not to mention that they're very convenient. You can take them anywhere, and most times there's no preparation needed. Now, protein supplements come in a bunch of different forms. Obviously, you have protein powder, which you typically shake up or you add to yogurt or mix into oatmeal, but you also have ready-to-drink shakes, as well as protein bars and protein cereal. The options are endless. You can also work it into other recipes like protein pancakes and even protein ice cream. I'm doing that currently using my Ninja Creamy. I'm gonna do a full review on it soon, but the options are endless. There's so many things that you can do with protein supplements. Now, there are many options out there, so you might be thinking, what makes a good protein supplement for the purposes of fat loss? In general, to get the most bang for your buck, you're gonna want a protein supplement that supplies 20 to 30 grams of protein with generally under 250 calories per serving. There are tons of products under there that fall within these guidelines, like the Premier protein shakes and various protein bars. Generally, there's a lot of variety, so there's something out there for everyone. If you're someone that eats animal products, there's gonna be a lot of variety between whey protein as well as casein, as they're the most common. But if you prefer to eat plant-based for whatever reason, you're not gonna be left out either, because there are literally hundreds of plant-based protein supplements out there that taste great and allow you to hit your protein target. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're using a protein supplement is that you wanna make sure to check the serving sizes on the actual supplement. They can vary from product to product, so you wanna make sure that you're taking in the required or necessary amount, as well as you don't wanna make the mistake of buying a protein supplement only for it to be a weight gainer or meal replacement, which is going to add in a bunch of unnecessary calories and won't be helpful for you to hit your weight loss goals. Now let's move on to our last protein mistake, which may be the worst of all. Number 5, you don't need to be eating only boiled chicken and rice to lose weight. In fact, cooking your protein this way may cause weight gain faster than any other mistake we talked about today. And that's because if you don't like what you're eating, it's gonna make it much harder to stick to your diet. And when it comes to weight loss, consistency above all else is gonna be the thing you need to get results. And the only way to be consistent with your diet and get enough protein and stay within your calorie range is to be enjoying what you're eating. Luckily, there are so many ways that you can prep your protein sources to make them taste good that you'll actually look forward to eating them. So for more traditional protein sources like meat and even tofu, you can grill and bake them and even marinate them and use a variety of different spices. Or use a kitchen gadget like a pressure cooker or an air fryer or slow cooker to create a variety of different meals with only one protein source. Just like a chicken breast can be transformed into chicken strips or chicken nuggets, as well as shredded chicken or grilled chicken, all with one protein source. Now, to keep things calorie conscious, you do want to avoid using high calorie oils and sauces and ingredients that are gonna drive up the calories and the sugar. But you can also use high protein ingredients to make sweet desserts using Greek yogurt and protein powder. There's tons of recipes out there for protein muffins and cookies and even ice cream like we talked about earlier. That can be low in calories, high in protein, and taste amazing. There are thousands of ways that you can create high protein meals and snacks. And most of these delicious high protein recipes are just a Google search away. And even if you don't know what you're doing in the kitchen, there are tons of recipes that take almost no time to prepare and even meal prep ahead of time, so there are no excuses to getting in enough protein. And that's it, folks. Those are the top 5 protein mistakes that you may be making. And remember, if you want my fat loss grocery list that includes my favorite fat loss foods, make sure to download it completely free in the first link in the description below. As great as all those tips are, if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'm gonna have you do is check out this video I've linked up right here. Today we talked all about protein mistakes. Next up, I wanna show you the best protein foods for fat loss. You can learn all about that in the video right here, so check it out now, and I'll see you in the next one.